If someone asks you to tell them a joke, what's your go-to? I have one prepared for if I ever get asked this question in a job interview. It goes like this. A man has an interview for a sales manager position at a company. During the interview, the hiring manager pulls out a brand new laptop and sets it on the desk in front of him. If you're as good as you say you are, sell me this laptop. The man picks the device up, studied it for a few seconds, then puts it under his arm and walks out the door. He's halfway down the hall when the hiring manager shouts, "Hey, bring me back that laptop." To which the man turns and replies, £200 and it's yours. A man has an interview for a sales manager position at a company. During the interview, the hiring manager pulls out a brand new laptop and sets it on the desk in front of him. If you're as good as you say you are, sell me this laptop. The second man says, I have one prepared for if I ever get asked this question in a job interview. It goes like this. I went to the coffee shop the other day, and the lady behind the counter asked me what I wanted. I said, give me your mildest roast. She looked at me for a moment and said, you have the most average ears. Since it's Sunday, on their way to get married, a young Catholic couple is involved in a fatal car accident. The couple themselves sitting outside the pearly gates waiting for Saint Peter to process them into heaven. While waiting, they begin to wonder, could they possibly get married in heaven? When Saint Peter showed up, they asked him. Saint Peter said, I don't know. This is the first time anyone has asked. Let me go find out. And he leaves. The couple sat and waited, and waited. 2 months passed and the couple are still waiting. While waiting, they begin to wonder what would happen if it didn't work out. Could you get a divorce in heaven? After yet another month, Saint Peter finally returns, looking somewhat bedraggled. Yes, he informs the couple, you can get married in heaven. Great, said the couple, but we were just wondering, what if things don't work out? Could we also get a divorce in heaven? Saint Peter, red-faced with anger, slammed his clipboard onto the ground. What's wrong? Asked the frightened couple. Oh, come on, Peter shouted. It took me 3 months to find a priest up here. Do you have any idea how long it'll take me to find a lawyer? ETA, thanks for the awards. Don't know if that will translate into English, lol. Do you have anything to drink? I have water. Do you have anything harder, ice? I named my legless dog Cigarette since I have to take him out for a drag. A woman woke up from a coma to find out she had birthed her twins while unconscious. The nurse assured her the babies were fine and that her brother was taking good care of them. The nurse further explained the brother had taken the liberty of naming them. The new mother asked for the names and the nurse said, well, your baby girl is Denise, and the mother said, that's not terrible. What about my boy nephew? A farmer looks up and sees his prized sheepdog running toward him. The sheepdog is panting and says, boss, I did it. It took me all morning, but I finally got all 100 sheep in the barn. The farmer says, that's great, but we only have 97 sheep. The sheepdog says, yeah, I know. I rounded them up. I love this one. What do you call a dyslexic, agnostic, insomniac? I don't know either, but they're awake all night wondering if there is a dog. I love this. A pirate walks into a bar with a steering wheel in his pants. The bartender asks, what's a steering wheel doing in your pants? And the pirate says, it's driving me nuts. Why did the man at the can crushing factory quit? Because it was so depressing. 2 men are drinking in a bar at the top of the Empire State Building. One says, did you know if you jump from the top of this building, the winds around the skyscrapers will stop your fall and blow you right back up here? No way, replied the second man. Here, I'll prove it, said the first, and he jumped out the window, fell down, and then reversed course and came right back up and through the window. Amazing, exclaimed the second man. Let me try that. He jumped and fell all the way to the pavement below. The bartender says to the first man, dang, Superman, you're in butthole when you're drunk. I felt like I knew where this was going, but the punchline still made me laugh. I heard of a book where Pavlov's dog and Scrodina's cat have a cross-country adventure. When I asked the librarian about it, she said it rings a bell, but I'll have to check whether it's there or not. Sart orders a coffee without milk at a cafe. The waitress returns and says they are out of milk and whether coffee without cream is okay. 3 statisticians go hunting. They're camped out for several days, cold, frustrated and on the verge of giving up when one of them finally spots a deer. The first statistician raises his rifle and fires, but misses to the left. The second statistician aims and fires wide to the right. The third statistician jumps up and exclaims, "We got it." That's mean. A penguin takes his car to the shop to get it checked out. To kill some time, he walks across the street to get some ice cream. He goes back to the shop and the mechanic said, "Looks like you blew a seal." The penguin replied, "No, that's just a little ice cream." My openers at parties. Me. You know it's statistically proven that people who talk to themselves are more intelligent and intuitive. Them. Oh wow, that's interesting. Me. I wasn't talking to you. Sounds like both an opener and a closer. 3 nuns are sitting on a park bench when a guy walks up and flashes them. 2 of them had a stroke. The third couldn't reach. 2 nuns are riding bicycles down a cobblestone street on their way to church. One nun says to the other, "I've never come this way before." The other nun replies, "It's probably the cobblestones." My go-to response is to freeze up completely and give off the impression that I know 0 jokes, and may not be familiar with the word joke. The legend of the woolybear. A soldier goes on tour, leaving his wife at home alone in a rough part of town. The wife decides to improve her home security by getting a guard dog. So she goes off to the pet shop and starts looking, but all she is seeing are chihuahuas and Pomeranians. She goes up to the owner and asks if he has any big guard dogs. The owner says no, but says, "Come on back. I have something that might work out for you." He takes her in the back, and there is a big crate in the middle of the room. The owner takes 5 minutes to get the top off, but all the woman sees at the bottom is a small ball of fur. "What's that?" asks the woman. The owner says, "This is a woolybear. Watch this." He then takes a large chair, places it at the bottom of the cage, and says, "Woolybear, my chair." The woolybear eats the chair to splinters. She buys it, takes it home, and trains it to help out around the house. "Woolybear my trash. Woolybear my leaves." Finally the husband comes home. He sees a large, by now, lump in the bed with his wife. "Who's that in bed with you?" he screams. The wife, startled, replies, "The woolybear." The husband, incredulous, says, "Woolybear my butt." There's one with a similar punchline. It's a magic sex toy that responds to commands. A lady gets pulled over by the cops and he asks her why she's driving so erratically. She says it's a magic toy that responds to commands when you call it, and he's like, "Magic toy my butt." The wife says to her husband, "Does this dress make me look fat?" Husband replies, "You promise not to get mad, no matter what I say." Wife says, "I promise I won't get mad." Husband replies, "I fricked your sister." The simple ones are the best ones. Love it. Jesus and his 12 disciples enter a restaurant. Jesus says to the hostess, "We'll need a table for 26. The hostess looks over the group and says, "Sir, there's only 13 here." Jesus responds, "Yes, but you see, we're all going to sit on one side." Later, "Will, that's the last time we let them eat here." A priest, a nun, a rabbi, a doctor, and a lawyer all walk into a bar. The bartender looks up and says, "Hey, what is this, a joke? Yesterday, I changed a light bulb, then I crossed the road and walked into a bar. That's when I realized that my entire life was a joke." Why was Cinderella bad at soccer? Her coach was a pumpkin. Her cleats were glass and she kept running away from the ball. Mickey and Minnie Mouse are in divorce court. The judge motions to Mickey and says, "Mr. Mouse, just to be clear, you say you want to divorce your wife because you think she's crazy." Mickey looks to the judge and replies, "I didn't say she was crazy. I said she was freaking goofy." I was driving last night and had a stoplight next to a prison. I look up at the prison wall and saw a dwarf in prisoner's cloths climbing down the wall. When I looked up, he turned his head and sneered at me. It was a terrible look, and I thought to myself, wow, that's a little condescending. Underrated joke right here. A guy walks into a psychiatrist's office with nothing on but underwear made of saran wrap. The psychiatrist looks at him and said, "I can clearly see your nuts." Wanna hear a joke about pizza? Never mind. It's too cheesy. Statistically, 6 out of 7 dwarfs are unhappy. You put the punchline first. How do you tell a time travel joke? I keep asking people what LGBT stands for, but I never get a straight answer. I once knew a woman with 12 nipples. Sounds weird, doesn't it? What's the difference between a joke and 2 dongs? You don't look like you can take a joke. My wife told me to stop impersonating flamingos, so I had to put my foot down. I'm too embarrassed to tell people about my wife's fetish, but I gotta get this crap off my chest. Just to make things clearer, I wear glasses. How many friend-zoned guys does it take to change a light bulb? None. They just compliment it and get mad when it doesn't screw. What's a pirate's favorite letter? Hopefully they respond with ag. You say, you'd think so, but it'd be the C. Proper execution. I. You'd think a pirate's favorite letter be R, but his true love be the C. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7 was a registered 6 offender. Thanks for my first Reddit rewards, homies. Cheers. Duck, love it. Thought you were gonna say because 7, 8, 9. What's the difference between the Rolling Stones and a Scotsman? The Rolling Stones say hey you, get off of my cloud, and a Scotsman says hey McLeod, get off of my you. Classic, but McLeod is the spelling you're looking for. A guy walks into a bar with his pet alligator. The bartender is very sketched out and asks the man to leave. If I can prove that this alligator is tame and won't bite, may we stay? The man asked. The bartender agreed and gave the man a chance to prove himself. The man knelt in front of the gator, which held its mouth open baring its teeth, and he proceeded to dangle his privates in the wide open gap. He felt as if he had proven himself, and was so assured that he shouted to all of the spectators at the bar, would anyone else like to try? A drunk fellow at the end of the bar shouted back, I would, but I don't know if I can hold my mouth open for that long. How many Germans does it take to screw in a light bulb? 1. We're efficient and have no humor. Must be said deadpan while maintaining eye contact. A group of foreign exchange students from France, Spain and the Netherlands enter the back of the room during a lecture. The professor notices they need to be able to view his presentation, so he gets up on a platform, yelling. He asks them, can you all see me back there? We see jar. This one, a man is driving down the road and breaks down near a monastery. He goes to the monastery, knocks on the door, and says, my car broke down. Do you think I could stay the night? The monks graciously accept him, feed him dinner, even fix his car. As the man tries to fall asleep, he hears a very strange sound. The next morning, he asks the monks what the sound was, but they say, we can't tell you. You're not a monk. The man is disappointed but thanks them anyway and goes about his merry way. Some years later, the same man breaks down in front of the same monastery. The monks again accept him, feed him, and again fix his car. That night, he hears the same strange noise that he had heard years earlier. The next morning, he asks what it is, but the monks reply, we can't tell you. You're not a monk. The man says, all right, I'm dying to know. If the only way I can find out what that sound was is to become a monk, how do I become a monk? The monks reply, you must travel the earth and tell us how many blades of grass there are and the exact number of sand pebbles. When you find these numbers, you will become a monk. The man sets about his task. Some 54 years later, he returns and knocks on the door of the monastery. He says, I have traveled the earth and have found what you have asked for. There are 145,236,284,232 blades of grass and 231, 281, 219, 999, 129, 382 sand pebbles on the earth. The monks reply, congratulations, you are now a monk. We shall now show you the way to the sound. The monks led the man to a wooden door where the head monk says, the sound is right behind that door. The man reaches for the knob, but the door is locked. He says, real funny, may I have the key? The monks give him the key, and he opens the door. Behind the wooden door is another door made of stone. The man demands the key to the stone door. The monks give him the key, and he opens it, only to find a door made of ruby. He demands another key from the monks, who provide it. Behind that door is another door, this one made of sapphire, and so it went until the man had gone through doors of emerald, silver, topaz, and amethyst. Finally, the monks say, "This is the last key to the last door." The man is relieved to know that he has finally reached to the end. He unlocks the door, turns the knob, and behind that door he is amazed to find the source of that strange sound. But he can't tell you what it is because you're not a monk. Did you hear about that kid that was born without eyelids? The doctors had to use his foreskin to make some for him. The only problem is that he's cockeyed now. Hahaha, I should have scrolled down 4 jokes. I totally just rewrote this joke but that 5 times longer, haha. I always start squealing at the end and ruin the punchline. A guy invited a centipede to a movie and said, "Hey centipede, would you like to go catch a movie with me?" The centipede didn't respond. He then asked a second time, "Say centipede, I asked if you would like to catch a movie later on today, still no answer." By the third time the man was feeling pretty offended and said, "Hey centipede, if you don't want to go to the movies with me you can just say so. No need to be rude and ignore me." The centipede then turns around and yells at the man, "I heard you the first time I was putting on my shoes." A bear and a rabbit are taking a crap in the woods. The bear turns to the rabbit and says, "Excuse me Mr. Rabbit, do you have a problem with crap sticking to your fur?" The rabbit turns to the bear and says, "No I do not Mr. Bear." So the bear wiped his butt with the rabbit. This was my favorite joke when I was 9. 2 giraffes walk into a bar. One falls down dead, the other goes up to the barman and orders a drink. The barman says, "Hang on, you can't leave that lying there." The giraffe replies, "Mate, that's a giraffe not a lion." What's better than eating a mandarin? Eating Amanda out. My name is Amanda. This is my go-to joke, and I work at a fruit shop. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.